My sister's Sweet 16 was cancelled, because my Karen mom is a Trump believer, and she loves the orange man more than her own children. My parents are very religious and are leaders in their church, and we've had arguments in the past based on religion. They are also very politically opinionated, and this argument involved both things. A previous argument was mom disliking when my sister and I took dinner to our rooms whenever they were watching political content while eating dinner. My parents wanted to have a family dinner with some church friends before my sister's Sweet 16 party, as they wanted a more intimate celebration on actual birthday. The Sweet 16 would have been shortly after, on a weekend, and they took her to a restaurant. But while we were there, mom began talking about Trump to one of her friends, and my sister, Laura, asked her not to talk about politics, which mom didn't like. Mom told her that she was being disrespectful and that she could talk about whatever she wanted. But when Laura told her that they were there for her birthday, she said it didn't matter and told her to mind her business. Laura then asked if she could sit somewhere else, but mom told her no, and that made Laura upset. She said she was tired of hearing about Trump, they watched clips and reaction videos about him at home too, and that she didn't get why she supported him too. But when mom's friend asked why she felt that way, Laura said he didn't act like a Christian and called him a false prophet who was tricking Christians by pretending to be one while committing adultery and other crimes. But when mom's friend said that you vote for the party's values instead of the candidate, Laura said that shouldn't give him a pass, before mom finally changed the subject. But on the ride back, mom scolded her for acting ungrateful and that she'd talk to dad about her behavior before telling her a few days later that she wasn't getting a Sweet 16 anymore for embarrassing them in front of her friend. We already had people invited, but my mom has since cancelled the venue too. I tried to tell dad that it wasn't fair to cancel her party when she already invited friends, along with how mom shouldn't have taken over her birthday, but he wouldn't listen or change his stance when we talked. I asked Laura if she wanted to do something else with me instead, but she said no and mostly kept to herself since, and they've confronted her about it in her room too. I just want to ask if I can do anything to cheer her up or support her more than telling her I agree with her stance, which I already did, because I don't know if there's anything else I can do at the moment, and she seems really down about the whole thing. What would you do if your parents were like this? Edit. Lauren's birthday already passed. Her birthday was the day we went to a restaurant with church friends because it fell on a weeknight, and her Sweet 16 was going to be on a later weekend that worked better for everyone to attend. I love how she's strong enough to stand up to them on her morals, but also afraid that it'll cost her college because our parents are currently paying for mine and hers, and they were willing to cancel her Sweet 16 over something as stupid as talking politics at her birthday, when she asked them not to. They already canceled invitations they sent out along with the venue too. Laura also doesn't want to do any activities in place of the Sweet 16 at the moment because she's embarrassed with how her parents canceled her friends' invitations. I feel so bad. Update. I wanted to add some closure to my original post because I received a lot of great advice. A few people suggested telling her friends what happened and arranging a surprise party separate from my parents for her. However, after putting myself in her shoes, I decided against it because it'd be wrong for me to control the narrative of how she wants, or doesn't want, to tell her friends. It's not my place to control her narrative, so I instead went to her room and asked if she wanted me to treat her to ice cream instead, but she said no and that she only wanted to talk. So we talked in her room, and she vented to me, and I'll mention a few details. The restaurant was not the first time she got into an altercation with them about politics. There was a Sunday where the pastor of our church made a jab towards gays for whatever reason some time back, during Pride Month, and people in the congregation egged him on as he did. Laura and I were not among them, as we're past the age of Sunday school and sit with our parents in church, and my sister called my parents out for it in the car. She said that his jab being the most enthusiastic moment and reaction in the service epitomized what was wrong with modern-day Christianity. Too many Christians care about roasting gays instead of what Jesus was actually about, helping those in need out of love. But our parents argued that Christians are supposed to call out wrong when we see it, and that included gay marriage in their opinion. We touched on that briefly because Laura said that Trump's presidency exposed the hatred bottled up in many Christians by making them feel validated in voicing hatred brashly similar to Trump's brashness, and she said Christianity lost a lot of credibility because of him too. However, she also said that he exposed fake Christians, which was good because Jesus wasn't about hate. The last thing I'll mention is that Dad came to her room to reinforce that she was disrespectful at the restaurant, when all she asked was to not talk politics at dinner. But when she told him that Christians couldn't give Trump a pass for his crimes, some against the Ten Commandments, despite being a Republican and conservative, Dad reinforced his belief in voting for the party instead of the candidate because Christians had to vote against gay rights and abortion that Democrats were for, and he even said he'd vote for a pesky well-known German with a lil tash, if he was the Republican nominee too. Both of us have permanently lost respect for him because he basically admitted he would vote for any candidate regardless of actions if they championed conservative and Christian views. My sister also decided not to have a party this year because she's not in the mood, and I respect that. She said she told her friends and that they respected her wishes not to do anything too. She also promised to take me up on ice cream in the future. But if we do, it'll just be the two of us because she doesn't want any more than that.